There we go. I'm sorry. I was a little discombobulated there, but welcome to the Comic Book Geeks podcast. I am one of your hosts, JW Sims. Welcome to this lovely Wednesday night. Another special night tonight. Uh, we have joining us all the way from Los Angeles, the one and only Jonathan Freeman Anderson. I had to rehire him this week because Phil took the week off. So I know I told everybody he was fired last week, but I had to bring him back in on a trial basis for this week. Yeah, and then we have, as always,
Thank you.
the only other co-host we can rely on to be here every week, Specs.
Hey, I tried, man. I tried.
And then we had to fill in for Phil tonight since he is not available for the show tonight. So once again, we're bringing in one of my many children. Joseph Sims will be joining us tonight. Hey, Joe.
Hey.
At least this one has a headset.
Yeah.
And he's not in the room beside me, so he can't hear me.
Yeah.
Not an echo.
Oh, it was bad last week.
Yeah, I was there for that live stream. That was.
Hey, I couldn't hear it during the show. When I watch it and I listen to it on Apple Music, I can hear it. It sounded
like I would whisper. I was whispering, and you could still hear it.
So now you know all the things not to do, Joe.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Don't use your phone without a headset.
Well, me and John's using our phone.
Yeah, but you probably have earbuds or something.
Yeah, I got my earbuds.
Yeah, I use my computer.
Oh, how do you do what?
I
bought American. I got American phone.
Oh,
there you go. It just works.
All right. Well, I guess there's some news. I've been trying to look at some stuff today, and it's just craziness. I was hoping that the Phil would be here because there was some wrestling news that just went down right before we came on the air. I don't know if any of you watched AEW wrestling, but Sunday was their big pay-per-view. CM Punk regained the World Heavyweight Champion.
Cool.
The Elite.
I thought a big deal was WWE.
It's both, but AEW's on the Wednesday night, and tonight was their show just before it came on, and Sunday was their big pay-per-view. And Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks had won the Trios Championship, but I guess there was some backstage fight that happened after the show, and so everyone was wondering coming into the night what was going to happen. And at the beginning of the show, Tony Khan, who is the owner of AEW, has suspended both of them, all four of those guys, and stripped the titles of them. So now they're starting tonight. They're going to have tournaments for the world title and all that stuff. So there was a big brouhaha because those are four of the big guys in the company that got into an actual fight backstage, and now they're all suspended indefinitely. So. And three of those guys are executive vice presidents of the company. So I don't know how that.
So let me get this straight. Something real got them suspended from something not as real.
I was waiting for you to say if you would have said fake, you'd have been gone.
I said not as real.
Not as real. That's right. It's not as real. It's wrestling.
Right. Just checking.
So
because if it was a setup backstage, they have those. I've seen that.
Yeah,
I know the drama.
Yeah. But
speaking of that, where's the cameras at? It's always cameras backstage, but when a real fight happens, no cameras.
Yeah.
Hey, when I was younger, back in the old WCW, was it Sid Vicious and Arn Anderson got into a fight, and one of them stabbed the other one with a pair of scissors.
Oh my God.
I think that was Sid Vicious.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Sid Vicious move.
Yeah, that was
what was Sid Vicious' name in WWF?
Sid Justice.
Oh, okay.
And then Psycho Sid later on.
Psycho Sid, that's it.
Yeah.
Psycho Sid.
Yeah. When he became a heel again, he became Psycho Sid. I had a drink there. But let me see there was some other stuff I seen before I came on today. I gotta just find it again.
What was the Kim Kardashian thing real?
Oh, what Kim Kardashian thing? I don't follow her. So
I don't either, but they said that she's confirmed to be in the MCU.
Oh God, please not. I mean, we had Megan the Stallion. That was enough.
I said, they had the one natural booty with that one, so they had to bring them the manufacturing one
to match it. Right? But Monty Python and the Holy Grail is getting an RPG.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's
oh my God,
awesome.
that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
You got to go pass over the bridge with the troll, and you got to fight the Black Knight, and you got to chase the rabbit and the coconuts. The whole thing. It makes so much sense.
At the end, you get arrested by the police.
Exactly. Cake your death.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. The tabletop.
So toxic.
I just want to know if I can can you give people just mere flesh wounds? That's all I want to know.
Just spot the scratch.
I want to roll for a mere flesh wound.
Wouldn't that be crazy if that's one of the roles you can play in the game? You could be the Black Knight. I mean, you always know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
But for like one repetitious stage over and over and over again, whoever comes on by, you get to lose all your limbs. Fun, great movie.
Yeah. There was a couple other things. I'm trying to scroll through here real quick. I guess James Gunn, before he made Guardians of the Galaxy, he wanted to make a Hitman movie.
Like Agent 47?
Yeah, Agent 47, Hitman.
I can see that.
I don't know. I don't Hitman is good as a game, but I don't think it would be good as a movie because it's
they've made 2 of them already.
Have you seen them?
Yes, I have. But
that's why
that
saying
good.
That's why saying they were good as a game, but they're not too good as a movie.
Well, the Timothy Oliphant movie was almost good.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the Hitman as a TV series would be better than Hitman as a movie.
Yeah, if they do correct, if they get a good enough director, it could be good. It's just that
James Gunn.
It's like a lot of things trying to turn a video game into something else.
Yeah, but I'm thinking if James Gunn was doing it, it would be like not as serious. You would think.
Well, that would be the problem. We already know he's going to make John Cena the Hitman. I'm done with it. I'm walking away. I'm not even going to play the game anymore.
That's probably why he made.
No, he's going to use Van Diesel.
Yeah, he'd use Vin Diesel.
And he'll get to talk. See, it's all over again.
There you
go. And then
there's so many good bald actors out there they could go with. I mean,
Bruce Willis, he won't remember anything.
Right, exactly. He doesn't have to say a line. Yeah.
I can't think of the guy's name I was thinking of now. But anyway, also I seen today that Batman Hush creators Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb are going to reunite for a new story that's going to be in the 20th anniversary hardcover of Hush, which makes me feel super old.
Yeah.
That storyline is 20 years old already.
Wow.
Like 2002, 2003, I guess. That came out. That's when you know you're old, because I always say like, oh, that was back in that was just in 2002. Wait.
So the 30th anniversary of the death of Superman should really make you feel ancient.
That's another announcement too.
Yep. Yeah, and they're doing the polybag, the black polybag again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see at SCG they have those all the time.
Yeah, probably for $1.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's how
this is going to pay for my kid's college. But you can find it for $1. And
that's where I get a lot of my comics. Is that I just go to the bin and just find the $1 ones.
I'll grab this too.
Nice.
They have first issue of
Batman. That's the facsimile edition or whatever.
Yeah, the reprint.
The pulp reprint.
Nice. Was there anything else in the news you guys wanted to talk about while I look through here quick?
Well, I don't know news. I did read another comic that wasn't on the list. I'm sure nobody else has read it. It was called Dyke Detective. And hold on, I'll find her. It was Donna McEntee, I think it was Manicotti. No, that's right. That's not right. Anyways, I had it just here a second ago pulled up, and now I can't find it.
While he's finding that, apparently the character of Silk from Spider-Man was in Homecoming. And
Stilt?
Silk.
Oh, Silk. Yes, I heard that too.
Yeah, supposed to be reprising her role in Silk TV show or movie and the Agents at Atlas show if it comes to fruition.
Oh yeah, I got it right.
Oh, here we go, Joe. This is probably something that you would be interested in. DC Multiverse Speed Metal: The Darkest Night Build-A-Wave is up for pre-order.
Yeah,
have you seen this?
I've seen that. Yeah, there's only like I think 3 that I've seen that I'm really into, which is the Jay Garrick, Kid Flash, and then like the Black Flash.
You don't want the Wally West, the blue Wally West?
Okay, the more blue Wally's cool, but I always like more of the classic costume for Wally, where he had kind of still looked like the Flash, but he had more of the the mask piece came more down onto his nose more, and he kind of had that like a darker red costume, more like a crimson than the bright red.
Oh, his new outfit.
Yeah.
That was more of my favorite outfit. Yeah.
The red and silver.
You say that, but you like the Jay Garrick outfit he got though?
Yeah, I like the original Jay Garrick. I'm not sure.
I like. He looks like but I'm just saying, out of like the 3 that they have, out of like the 4 or 5 they have, those are the only 3 I really liked.
I'm not a big fan of that Kid Flash one either. The funky glasses. The funky glasses. Yeah. I don't know.
Kind of looks like
some Hawk and Duff.
Yeah, the goggles are weird.
Yeah.
But I also don't really collect speedsters or like anything. If you look, I have like over here, I have a whole lot of Batman, and then
all dark and brooding.
And Spawn. Yes, all these.
And then Batman, right behind my computer is just I have 3 Spawn figures there, and then I have like 4 more over there. That like 3 over there. Like I have a whole lot. I went to Steel City Con, the most recent one, and that's all I got was the Spawn stuff. Besides one thing, which was Kingdom Come Batman.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah. It just didn't go with his wings, so I'm looking on eBay to see if I can find like the wings attached to his back, or at least find like the foldable ones, like where you can get like out of like the like fake leather and like metal wiring, so they can like bend around and stuff, like how people do that with like the Spawn figures with the capes. They'll get like those fake capes and whatever, like fake leather capes and whatnot. That's what if I can't find it.
That's elaborate.
Yeah.
And this past week, the premiere of the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of whatever,
Power Rings or
whatever, whatever it is. I don't know if I haven't watched it yet. I'm pretty sure Phil had watched it because he was excited about it last week.
Yeah, he would have been the guy.
And then they finally released some images of the new Hellraiser movie that will be on Hulu on October 4th with the female Pinhead, which looks really interesting. Really can't wait to watch that on the 4th. That seems... I'm a big Hellraiser, Clive Barker fan, even those little crappy movies that they did.
I love Clive Barker. All those horror directors of that era, or that style, even like goofier ones like John Carpenter or Roger Corman. Those films. Clive Barker is even darker, obviously, but those kinds of films, those directors where they just kind of threw like reality out the window and went with as much gore as they could are really. I don't know. They're really great when you're babysitting young kids and they need something.
Well, the best thing about the Hellraiser movies is that the Cenobites aren't the villains, and that's like, and it's just that's everyone assumes they are because they're.
Do you watch Rick and Morty?
I do not watch Rick and Morty.
I watched episode 1 of season 6 that came out. That was it was very weird. I don't know how to pronounce to describe it because they kind of like leave a whole like area gone, like they just removed like a whole thing where they just skip to them like after everything, and then just
Right.
kind of like
Like it never happened.
forget about Evil Morty. They talk about him, but they just forget about him, and then they kind of like also
Right.
talk about the original Rick and how he's kind of like evil and everything. He's like going to other universes to kill like other people, and like he kills Jerry for no reason.
Isn't that season 4?
No,
It's
he just
season
ruined
6.
season 6, the brand new episode, which I hadn't seen yet. So
But it sounds like
They-
something it sounds like something I heard
Hey.
before.
Their season 6 is the latest. The only way to watch season 6 right now is through Adult Swim, because HBO Max said they're not going to stream it until all of season 6 is out.
oh, gotcha.
And
Well,
it's kind
season
of
5
dumb.
is a Hellraiser episode, which I was referring to.
Yeah.
Where like
With Jerry with
pain
the
gives them
cube and
pleasure. Yeah. They just keep having to reverse everything to like make it make sense and move forward.
Yeah.
Nice.
You're firing me. I
Yeah.
love this. Keep firing me.
Oh, man. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Of course, we already touched on the big controversy this past week with the twerking She-Hulk.
Kim Kardashian?
Oh my god. No, because I was just talking to like you would know who the grandma Helen.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah, what's up with Helen?
It was her.
it's
Well,
Grandma
my
Helen.
dad would know it.
Love
My
Helen.
grandma Helen. But
Yeah, the
she's
best.
been watching it, and she keeps talking about how She-Hulk is stronger than Hulk. And then anytime we try to prove
Mentally,
her
maybe.
wrong, yeah,
mentally
but
maybe.
it's also because she was trying to say, well, because she could control that, she could turn from Hulk to She-Hulk. And I'm also the entire time she kept ignoring me that Bruce Banner has split personality disorder. Hulk is someone different compared to Bruce Banner.
Yeah,
Reason why he can't control it until recently, where they both coincided to become one being. But she didn't want to listen to that, and she just wanted to say that She-Hulk is better because she could control her anger.
there was something to go with She-Hulk because I wanted to ask it last week and I totally forgot. But in the one scene in episode 2, when the Hulk is on that ship, on the spaceship flying away, the Chitauri ship, where's he go? Maybe we did talk about it, Specs.
We did. I put it in the clip.
Yeah, okay. I was like, where's he going?
Yeah, well, I mean, I got to think that some of these things they're all tied into other things. So I'm sure everything's going to be revealed later.
Well, what I think is going on, I think everybody's going to where Nick Fury is. I think we won't know until Secret
Invasion.
happens.
Secret
Yeah.
Invasion.
Yeah,
the
because
Skrulls.
I think Secret Invasion won't be Nick Fury. I think it's going to be the Skrull.
Again? Like, that's the whole point of it. Like, the Skrull was Nick Fury on Earth all that time.
Right.
And
Yeah, I think he escaped for that reason.
The whole Secret Invasion thing will be that Nick Fury, not the one that is in space. Like, the one in space will not know anything that's going on until like the end or something.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, other than
Right.
that, it makes no point. Why would Nick Fury know about Secret Invasion if he's in space already and it's happened on Earth?
Well, I mean, this is why Secret Invasion is going to be difficult, I think, for the fans on some level, because the storyline in the comics to me was a cerebral thing that you had to like really
Unless it
focus
happened
and
at
follow
night.
on.
yeah,
Let's say it happened in the early 2000s or 90s, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
but with the comic book, that was they were playing the really long game on that because you could go back and trace it back to where those heroes disappeared and were replaced. Like every one of them, you can see like they have this is where this person was replaced, and this is where the Skrull took this person.
Oh, speaking of that, you know they hired somebody to be the real life TVA in the MCU.
What?
Yeah, so they hired some people to keep up with each timeline.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I love that.
Well, you need to have that. We talked about being a friend, like we're really into Stephen King books and especially The Dark Tower, and we're like in his basement he must have like one of those boards that you see in people like are trying to solve crimes with the
yarn
with the red yarn to keep track of, because the
universe.
The Dark Tower is the center of the universe, and all these characters show up in the Dark Tower that are in other books. You got to like keep them all straight. Like this one gets here. This is how this one connects to here.
Well, they need that. I mean, it's like a script supervisor, you know, in the film world, but like something of a real, like super nerd. Like I don't know, they could get Chris Hardwick or something to go do that job for Marvel.
Well, he already signed a deal with the devil, so you know he's going to be around forever and never age. So.
Well, him and Paul Rudd. Yeah, I mean,
like I just seen a thing about what was that? Blind Date, when he was the host of Blind Date, like the first non-video show on MTV, and he looks exactly the same.
Talking about Paul Rudd?
No.
Hardwick.
Yeah, Chris Hardwick. And that was like what, mid '90s, early '90s.
Oh yeah, I remember that show.
Yeah, that was like 20 years ago.
No, it was longer than that because that was like Jenny McCarthy got her start in that show.
Before Real World and Roll.
Oh yeah, that was the first.
This was like the first non-music video like game show thing they did.
Real World wasn't music videos either.
Well, Real World was like around. Was like one of the early ones.
It wasn't until after that, like Remote Control and Blind Date were the first non-music video shows on MTV.
We're probably boring Joseph here.
Yeah, we're showing our age.
I was gonna say something, but I didn't want to interrupt your guys' conversation.
He didn't even know what MTV stands for. So
I've
watched MTV, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah,
I didn't.
It's all ridiculous. That's all it is. Ridiculous.
But
ridiculous. That's all they show now. It's ridiculous.
Going back to the whole like secret.
Do you know what TLC stands for from the TV channel? You know what that stands for?
I used to know. I don't remember now.
Who has cable?
No, and you don't even know it's the Learning Channel, but there's nothing about learning on that channel.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I thought you were talking about TRL for a second.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The whole thing with TLC reminds me that there's a because we still like watch sometimes we go like watch actual TV, like not like we watch like not cable but like set, I don't know how to pronounce, but like
streaming.
Okay, yeah, but so there's a channel called BBC America, so it's the British Broadcasting Channel America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the BBC in England is their whole system. Like you have BBC One, BBC Two, BBC Three. I was setting up a song there, but no one must have picked up on it.
I was watching Doctor Who on BBC America though, and they tried to bring Torchwood out on BBC America. There was like so it was like a big deal like at one point.
Torchwood, yeah, for like the first season.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Until everyone realized it didn't have nothing to do with Doctor Who.
Yeah,
even though it's just like supposed to be somewhat related to it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be because they talk about Torchwood in Doctor Who, but
yeah,
it's the same thing with Telemundo and Univision or whatever it is. same thing.
Yeah.
The only time I ever watched one of those, it was the Del Rey Network. The only time I ever watched the Del Rey Network is so I could watch Lucha Underground.
That's a good reason. I mean, you know, get your wrestling on in any language.
Hey, it was in English. It was out of San Diego.
Oh, was you watching Chris Jericho back then?
Jericho, he didn't wrestle in that, but yeah.
Luchador, yeah, he was like 16.
Oh yeah, but this is just like not long ago.
Oh, okay.
Like they had, like Ricochet from the WWE. He was in there as Prince Puma. But
is the whole family wrestling fans like this? Like you guys?
No, just me.
Yeah, mostly Depp, but I do watch. Okay, I used to watch wrestling. I do occasionally, but
when I'm around.
Yeah.
Like last week.
Well, because mom's not really into watching it anymore.
Yeah,
so,
I know. She never was.
Okay.
Trust me.
The only thing that she watches now for it is the history of wrestling. And it's like they tell the backstories to like stuff like that of people. Like there was the one about Dwayne Johnson.
Like the biographies on A&E.
Yeah, and it's all she watches for wrestling anymore.
Nice.
Well, you guys could start a podcast about that, about what was going on and what is going on.
Well, a wrestling podcast would be cool. I wish somebody would do that.
Stone Cold got that.
Who?
Steve Austin. Stone Cold.
Oh, yeah, but that's a little different. Yeah. He just interviews the WWE. Well, he did have Jericho on it the one time, so I can't say just the WWE guys.
I'd assume it would just be like hours of him talking about all his injuries. You know. This is how I got this one. This is why I smack beer on my face this way now.
This is
They
how
say
I.
he used to get so drunk, like really drunk.
Yeah,
Well,
really trashed.
The whole thing with that, the way it started, is because he got in trouble early, or like in his WWE career, and he was, and one of the court ordered things is he wasn't allowed to drink alcohol. So when he finally was like, that he got released from that, was when he started the beer bash thing.
I don't know if he got the lesson from that situation.
He do drinking make dollars.
Yeah.
But I guess we could go ahead and move on to this week's comic books to review. Joey's not going to know what we're going to talk about. I'm sure he hasn't read any of these. But I'm sure there's some other books that he can talk about that he has read recently when we get around to them. But first of all, I don't have that thing up that you wanted me to bring up, John. I'll have to find them real quick. But the first book I read is the book I know Jonathan didn't read. It was my book for this week, and that was Vampirella Year 1, Number 2. That's all right. It's my book. It's the book I chose to read.
Yeah, I get it. You're upset. My bad. I didn't read your book.
You didn't have to.
I'll send you a Vampirella gift basket.
Okay, if you want to do that, I'll take it.
All right, cool.
But so this is the second issue of the origin of Vampirella. It's written by Christopher Priest, and the artist is a name I cannot. What?
Christopher Priest, is he a good writer? I was status about him. Is he a good writer?
He's all right.
Okay.
I mean,
he's all
He's
right.
doing Vampirella, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but he's not like, super well known, but he's worked a good bit.
I've heard of him before too. I feel like
Black Panther.
Yeah.
The article was he made him cool, but I don't know.
But
Black Panther is one of my favorite superheroes. It's I don't know. He's so cool for some reason. I got a comic book about him, and it's.
You got a comic book by Black Panther?
Well, it was one of the newer
Which one?
Well,
just that that one where he wears the suit that looks like a panther and it's black.
The thing where he's running really fast. That one, the one where he runs fast.
It's just
where he's the king.
Yeah, where he's the king.
Hold on.
All right. Well, anyways, Vampirella, Year 1, Issue 2. It moves ahead a little bit. We see Vampirella now. Obviously, her and her mother are still on the run from the people who want to kill them. It's a confusing book.
That's the Black Panther I've been talking about. It's one of the newer ones.
I had to go back and read the first issue because when I started the second issue, I was confused because it feels like I missed something somewhere, but I didn't. It just was not a very cohesive
Oh, so you just answered Speck's question. It wasn't well written.
Well, it's just not to read as from one issue and then wait a month and pick up the second issue.
Same writer?
Yeah. It just
Okay.
Me, I had to think about, okay, what happened in the last issue? So I had to go back and look through the first issue to see, because I thought, she wasn't with her mother. I thought they killed her mother. And then this whole deal. So do
you read this book?
I did. I think
not Year 1, but Vampirella in general.
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because like I said, the first issue, I never knew she was an alien.
Oh.
So they come from, actually it's an alternate Earth. They come from the moon in an alternate reality.
I like that. They can keep going with that. She comes from a moon in an alternate reality in a crater that has a divot in there where it's in another wormhole to a different timeline, and just keep going deeper and deeper until it's just a frog on a log in a bog. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza.
That's right. You get it.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to read the rest of this right now. I think I'm going to wait till it's finished, and then try to read through it the whole way and then give my thoughts on the completed story.
So how long before it's finished?
I don't know if it's 4 or 6. So we shall see. The art's great. It's just, I think because of me not being familiar with the lore of Vampirella, I also lose some in translation. like what's going on.
She's an old character. I know that much.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting the way the story's written because it's from Vampirella. As an adult, she's pregnant, and she's writing the story down for her child to know their family history. So that's what that is. But then out the group books this week. The first one is Alice Ever After #5. That was the end of this storyline of this mini series. We see Alice is still in the asylum. They're about to do a treatment on her, which, if you know anything about mental institutions back then, they like to do those lobotomies. And her sister and I guess the guy she liked, her boyfriend, whatever, they're trying to stop it. Her family, because she knows some secrets of her family, her father's all okay for them erasing her memory, for loss of better words.
The whole thing reminds me of Sucker Punch. You know Sucker Punch?
Yep.
Yeah, the whole thing reminds me of Sucker Punch.
But by the end, it gives you a mixed feeling, at least to me, because Alice gets to stay in Wonderland. So I guess it's a happy ending for her. But for her family, it's not such a happy ending, I don't think. But it does leave it open for the story to continue. So
In a psychotic way.
yeah, like she uninvited the Cheshire Cat from the tea party. So we'll see what that means.
That's just not right. You can't do that.
I know Jonathan didn't read it because it was in the group books for the week.
Yeah, the books. Yeah. So I'm on all the things that weren't in those files.
Yeah, he read all the things that he didn't really need to read. Did you read that book this week, Specs?
I went through it because I kind of fell off on that series a little bit, but it just like you said the ending, but it's just like a one-off story almost. Like I thought it was gonna be more.
I mean,
one-off. Like
yeah, it's just
I mean, so is there a way out of Wonderland for her still though? If she's got a lobotomy.
Yeah, no, she's stuck in. She's in Wonderland now.
It's like
you can get a lobotomy in Wonderland and just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Oh, did they ever say like was she still a girl in Wonderland?
The what?
Because isn't there an age difference, right? So did it ever say how old she was?
Well, I believe that this story takes place after the story we know about. So she is, when she's gotten into the drugs, she kept going back to Wonderland. So she's grown up. She's still, you know what I mean? She's not the little girl anymore. She just has continually gone back when she's taking drugs. So
she's just been tripping the whole time is the premise.
Yeah.
And now she's permanently tripping.
Yeah, it's in her head. Just like finally she talks to the cats. Like if you remember, the cats were like the narrators. And in this issue, she like talks to them in the thought bubbles. Like she keeps telling them to shut up.
Oh, gotcha.
And stuff. So the cats really aren't talking at all.
You think the longer the story goes, the more she start tripping? That's why it went the way it did.
Yeah, but then also you see like in the 4th issue, they take her off the medicine and they cut her and she started getting worse because she wasn't, which probably withdrawal, but they don't like come out and tell you that. But not too bad.
I got an idea for you, for you, James.
Yep.
Cthulhu goes to Imagination Land, right? And it starts out with like an asylum, but you got like Alice in there, you got Dorothy in there, you got maybe Wendy from Neverland in there. They're all just in their head about these different lands or whatever, you know what I mean? And then like each, it's Imagination Land, so like every other character that you remember from South Park pop in there.
And SpongeBob can go imagination.
And then be killed by Cthulhu. I'm not even saying it right.
Yeah, Cthulhu. And I had my Cthulhu shirt on for you last week, and you didn't show up. So.
See, I'm feeling digging deeper.
Yeah. All right. So another one of the group books this week was Devil's Highway, Volume 2, Issue 4 of 5. We're finally starting to get to the end of this story. I have kind of not really lost track of the story, but at the same point, I think we're in a different place than where it started, like storyline wise. So in this issue, we see it's written by Benjamin Percy, by the way. If you know him, he writes X Force and Wolverine.
Yes.
And Brent. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm sorry, Brent, if you're listening. I don't want to butcher your name, but it's like Skloonover. I don't know, something like that.
Since you mentioned him, this is his style. I'm reading X Force, so it is his style. So now I see it better. This comic better now because you brought it up. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, because I didn't realize he was writing it either until this month. Like, because I actually finally looked at the.
But
I was like, oh,
he writes the same way in the X-Men books. He writes the same way, like draw it out like that. And piece it
all together by the end. And so with this issue, when I started reading it, I was like, did I read issue 3? Because it just seemed like I didn't.
I think we skipped that week.
No, we might have skipped it, but I read it. I had to go back and look at it. And I was like, oh, I did read this. Oh, okay. Now it makes sense where we're at. Like, but I noticed the one thing I have a problem with this story is the villains really aren't fleshed out too well. Like, you never really find if you remember at the end of the first issue where there's the FBI agent, he finally comes back around in this issue. And he's given the guy a chance to, like, if he joins their cult, whatever, he'll let him come back to the FBI and forgive all his stuff. But, and they don't really give us a reasoning for doing what they're doing. It's just like,
it's too
here
big.
Here we are, you know, like, what was the other thing I said? Oh, and there's no reasoning ever given for the opening scene in the first book where they take the truckload of immigrants and kill them.
And they're all dead.
Yeah, and this little girl is still like around them, but it's like she's the I don't even remember what that word is. They made you think she was the focus of the story in the first.
Yeah, something special.
And she's not.
So and so's gun, right? No,
it's
not that. I can't think now. Now I'm MacGuffin, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a MacGuffin. That's it.
Oh, okay.
MacGuffin, yeah.
Oh, he's gone.
He'll be back. So
it
just makes you think that it's something important when it's really not. At least it hasn't been so far. Maybe in the last issue, we'll finally see that she has something to,
Basically, Luke Skywalker or Obi-Wan.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, did you read this one, Specs?
No, I didn't read this one.
Oh, man.
I read everything else.
Except for the books of the week right now. So the last group book for this week is Dogs of London, issue 4 from Aftershock. That is Peter Milligan, who's the writer, and another artist who I can't pronounce. Atasidia or something like that. But anyways.
Where did this story go? Because we've been reading this one for a minute.
Yeah.
It started the same trend as all the rest of the books on this week's list. Like,
pretty much. Like, we were like, where's it going? It's a slow build. This one was about, it shows this a guy this takes place in Britain. He's just recently been knighted. You also find out that in his younger days, he was a gangster. And before that, him and a bunch of his friends were in a juvenile detention center. Is the best, and they were running experiments on these kids,
of course,
in this place. And at the end of the first issue, 3 of his friends that him and his other buddies in the group, called the Dogs of London, killed and buried them. They come back to life 50 years later, and so,
right, and you can't explain it.
Yeah, until this issue.
Yeah,
till we find out how they came back to life. But it tackles some like very interesting like side stories. Like one of the characters who was this gangster in the 50s, I guess it was the 50s. Seems like, because it was like 50 years ago.
60s.
50s, 60s, something like that. But he was a homosexual. And so a lot of his anger is because you couldn't really be a homosexual in the 50s and 60s. You know? I mean, it just wasn't. I mean, obviously there were, but culturally it was not accepted. And so this is like why he's like very violent now. And he like when he tortures people, he's like really penned up. Like there's a scene where he goes into this gay bar and picks up this guy. And the next thing you know, he's like just his eyes are gouged out. He's all dead and bloody.
Femurs broke.
Yeah, it's just literally like. But from these, I guess you find out that the where they were being held, the scientist who was running experiments on them was trying to. The government had them to run these experiments to find out why there's so much crime, and they were doing the whole nature versus nurture, and they noticed that kids who were like lower middle class were more prone to getting into violence and crime. So he was rewiring their brains to think that they were like from these well-to-do families, and they were rich and all this other stuff. And those 3 kids, the experiments changed their DNA somehow, and no one knew about it. When they died, they came back to life, and they didn't age. None of them aged like those 3. So we'll see. The next issue is the final issue.
And so they were stuck alive in their graves till recently, or
yeah,
but it creates a plot hole or plot missing plot device, because if they never aged, so after they left the place and they would never hit puberty and all that stuff, but they obviously did. So
yeah,
they had to age to some point. I mean, that's the same thing with like Wolverine. He aged to a certain basic general age.
But no,
they
haven't aged in 50 years. But
right,
but they aged up until like their 20s, and then they just stopped aging.
Aging.
Then that 5-6 year, I think it was 10-year period, they aged.
Yeah,
but they didn't age these 50 years. I don't know.
Yeah, something off about it.
It's a comic book. I mean, heck, Marvel brings people back from the dead every other week.
So, Infinity Stones.
But those were the books I read this week.
But how do you feel about that book? Do you think like I feel like this is just a whole bunch of random stuff in this one versus the other 3?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're trying to set up some stuff. Obviously, Frank is the only one left of his friends, so it's him against.
The other one's still alive.
Well, they really messed him up. They like took pliers and broke his fingers.
No, not the one with that shirt. The one with the shirt is the same when they blew the building up, right?
Yeah.
So
that was his best friend.
One, right? It's 6 of them.
They killed the other one in another issue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the last one.
Okay.
He's the last dog.
Yep.
Well, technically it's 3 more, but
technically there's 4, but 3 of them are hunting for Frank to kill him.
So what do you think about the money situation? This money side quest.
The money side quest?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's telling them they have to get jobs. The dead guys have to get jobs because they have to have money after they kill Frank. Because, now after they kill Frank, they need to have lives. So
this is gonna be the most abstract conversation for Joseph because he has no idea anything about this.
You got to read Dogs of London.
About 3 guys that don't age, but then come back and haunt this guy Frank.
Yeah.
Then they hold his son for ransom.
Yeah, Sir Frank.
The worst ghost ever.
Because and they smash his boyfriend's face through a mirror, and somehow they can also like telekinesis. They can make people do stuff. Yeah,
I don't need these dogs around. I would definitely.
But the covers,
they got telekinesis and pyrotechnesis. They can make flames happen because they blew the building up with their mind.
Yeah, but the covers to these books are great. Like they have nothing to do with the story
at all. Nothing at all.
It's like these 3 Doberman dogs, men that are just bloodied and crap.
I think the second issue had a good cover too. They had nothing to do with nothing.
Yeah,
No, nothing to do
nothing
with
to
it.
do with nothing. So we'll have to see. The cover for issue 5 has Frank with those 3 Dobermans by the leash. So maybe somehow he's going to take control of them and become the leader of the dogs of London again. Who knows?
Maybe he'll start
They
a
say
punk band.
throw you in a pack of wolves, you come out leading the pack.
Yeah. So, what other books did we have this week? Oh, Specs, you had a couple. So, what books did you read this week, Specs?
So I read the Belle Reeve book.
DC Saved by the Belle Reeve.
So like I didn't read all of them because like that Superboy one really like it didn't turn me off like what was going on in the book.
Mm-hmm.
But after that book, it's the other story started getting political. Like it just
Yeah, there was
weird.
some political stuff in there.
It is weird. I was like, where's it going? Then maybe I wasn't keeping up, but is Jefferson Pierce like really a senator, or that's just for the story?
I don't know. I didn't read it. It was way too
so
long.
they had Lex Luthor being a president and
Yeah.
Jefferson Pierce being a senator. And I was like, is he a senator? I couldn't really remember.
Yeah, it's an anthology, and I just by glancing through it, it seemed like they were trying to do almost like Saved by the like school stuff. Is that kind of like
Yeah,
how, like,
Yeah, it was all based in the school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
each story had a point. So like,
Yeah.
what was the first one? The
one with the Suicide Squad was great, where they made
the first one. I don't know what the point was. It wasn't. I don't know. I don't know who the characters were. They just some random kids in the journal. and Solomon and Grundy was the gardener. So I don't know what's going on there.
That was the one with the shark, right?
Huh?
Was that the one where the shark guy was teaching English?
No, this is the one where the girl was leaving school, but she was trying to get her friends stuff, but she disappeared. Then she met the other girl. Then they went to the clock tower, and a guy was.
Oh yeah, I remember the first story.
Yeah,
and they were like, "What are you doing here?"
I don't know who are they are. Like who are these kids?
Yeah, I have no idea who those kids were. I remember that.
So that one had no point at all. It said it's not over yet. Be continued. So I don't know. If there's a new storyline they're trying to put out. I don't know.
Well, they could do a school anthology.
Was it Gotham Academy kids?
Yeah, but they was leaving Gotham. Like two of them, one kid was leaving Gotham, but she didn't say where she's going. The boy.
No, but were they like characters from the Gotham Academy book?
I mean, I never read the Gotham Academy, so I don't know. Have you read it?
Sparingly, like because
So
Damien used to be in it.
Gadgets. Does that make sense?
Kind of. I don't. Damien was in the.
Well, he seemed like the Batman one. The one with the gadgets was more like like they seemed like derivatives.
No, because that don't make sense. Because what you're saying would be the kids in Teen Titans.
Right.
Man-Bat kid and
Chupacabra
and all them.
Chupacabra, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, the second story was Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's what I'm at.
Became like teachers at the school, and
I love that one.
It was basically the cast of the recent Suicide Squad movie.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing.
And that was
they let the shark teach English, and they had like a panel that made him look like Rob Williams from Dead Poets Society.
Yeah,
and
then
like,
the
past tense of nom is nom.
Yeah, Weasel with the lunch lady.
The Weasel with the lunch lady. It's great.
Yeah,
the one whose brain wasn't big enough to be hypnotized.
Yeah. The next story was the Superboy story.
The transgender story.
Superboy's back being the kids of the Super Sons all over again, and they're in 8th grade now. But it's weird because Damon shouldn't be in the same grade as Jonathan because Damon's older, so he should have been in high school and not in middle school. But
yeah.
And
then DC didn't like that, so they had to make Jonathan almost an adult.
Maybe they aged him up.
Yeah, the only thing that I would have liked about this story if they made this story a point to why he is what he is now in the Superman books. It would have made like, oh, it's cool. So I thought that would have been better. They would have alluded, oh, I met this guy in 8th grade. That's why I'm this way.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
What was the next one? What was the next one?
I don't even know. All I know is that book was 70. There was like 84 pages.
It was long. The next one was a mini. Oh, the Teen Titans as a TV
The
show.
babies.
It was them going to Bill Reed's and finding different Suicide Squad members and doing goofy Teen Titan ghost type stuff. Like, and then the Jefferson Pierce thing with Lex Luthor being the president, he just flashed back in it how he is with his students, and it had him being like the cool principal, but I think it's a cool teacher in that world, and he was reflecting how he is, and he just automatically submitted like to Lex Luthor and said how great the person he is at the end.
Oh yeah. That was kind of pathetic. I mean, that was frustrating.
I don't know.
He was trying to show how like you could still be a hero even though you, except the very end where he was like, no.
Yeah, he just, I don't know. But then the rest of them I didn't read, so I don't know what's the other story about.
Oh, so you didn't read your 102-page School for Little Monsters?
You didn't read the one that you suggested?
I read everything for Little Monsters.
Did you read Amazing Fantasy 1000?
I did.
All right.
The Bill Reed one just was like, and I was gonna buy that book at the comic book store too. Like, glad I didn't. But the Little Monsters ones, it was basically about 6 monsters, but the monster called Foil. Was it Foil or Fail? Can't remember. He was like the monster that's different from everybody else. Hence probably his name.
Flop.
Huh?
Flop.
Yeah, Flop. Yeah. So everybody else want to be bad and not go to school and not wake up, not do the homework, but he wanted to do all that stuff. So it's constantly like back and forth with that going on. And different situations, like it's the first day of school and all the kids getting praises for not being in school early, and he got in trouble for being in school early, and his parents tried to like keep him from doing it. The kids tried to get lice, so they went to like this dirty room to get lice.
It's a reverse children's book.
Everybody. So when he got home, he got in trouble for having a clean room. It was a night. They went to his dad's job, and his dad basically had a job like the Monsters from Monster Inc. But instead of going to the kid's room and scaring them, he went inside their dreams and made their dreams worse. And the kid ended up going to the dream and like turned the dream to a pleasant dream. And his dad and his friends start running out the dreams. Oh my God, this place is terrible. I think it was one more story I can't remember. But then the last story was they built a kite and they were trying to fly a kite, and the kite flew in the woods, and they said they can't go in the woods because it's terrible.
Oh, that's right. And
like some Smurf type characters live in the woods, and they were singing and doing all kind of nice stuff, trying to scare the monsters away. And Flop wasn't going for it. He loved it there and whatnot. And they were so confused why he loves the singing and the hugging and the kissing and all that stuff.
Have you ever read a Europe comic before? Because that's all their books are like, not like that, but they're all like 100 and some pages. They're like complete, like.
So are they graphic novels or are they books?
Yeah, they're graphic novels, but they also have like issues to them. There's some that have like series. So like every other month, one of those 100 some page books come out.
Yeah.
This book was like a story about an autistic monster.
Kind of.
Basically,
yeah.
Then Amazing. Oh, funny story about this. So Amazing Fantasy book 999 is a collector's item. So if y'all see it, y'all can buy it.
Amazing Fantasy 999.
Yep. Y'all know why?
No.
Because it never came out. It never happened. So Amazing Fantasy only goes up to like 50 something. So
maybe they were counting like all the Spider-Man issues, and I have
it doesn't. It still don't equal up to it. So basically, they say it's a 60th anniversary, so let's do something special. So they just called it 1000.
I seen that one.
Yeah, because Spider-Man is only on 900 or something. So 52 plus 900 or something doesn't equal 1000. So no matter what, it just a random number they threw out there.
Hey, if we put 1,000 on it, people will buy it.
I mean, I was getting ready to buy I was like, oh my god,
It's a good story.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's another anthology, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
got, like,
I mean, not every story was in there good. Like first one, I can't remember what the first one was, but the one that stuck to me was when he's an old man.
Yeah, old
Yeah.
man
He
Spider-Man.
gets shot. That was a good story.
And then Mary Jane yells at him for like
for
jumping out the window just to help the girl from getting robbed when he's trying to recover in the hospital.
Yeah,
perfect.
the story when he went to the Council of Peters, and they was all playing jokes on him. That was a pretty good story.
That was a great one.
Is that the last story where you see all the different Spider-Men?
It's second to the last, I believe.
Yeah, and they're like, why do we have a great life? And they're all like, we all have a great life.
Because the last one, I believe, was a Rhino one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, that was the last one for the guy.
Yeah, so I wonder how that would have went, like, cause it sounds interesting, you know, a guy named Rhino versus the Rhino, but they never said what his powers was. Like, he had super strength. I got the idea he was like Jessica Jones, like he is strong, but not that strong. Yeah. Oh, the story about something was going on, and Peter tried to get pictures. And he took all these great pictures.
Oh yeah, and he spills the ice cream.
Yeah, put the ice cream on his mask and on his shirt, and that's the one he got picked. And he was depressed about it.
That was still heartwarming. I like the idea of what they're doing there.
The first story, what was I just had it in my head. Dang, I can't remember what the first story was. It was it's so long. Like, these stories was basically like 20 page
full issues. Yeah.
I forgot what. Oh, the Vulture.
Yeah, that's right.
The Sinister,
that's the
60.
The old man. I can't remember the first story. It must have wasn't that good.
Yeah.
We can mark that guy off not coming to our show.
Do you remember Jonathan? The first story?
No, I mean, I remember I read it and I was like, shoot, I should have taken notes when I was reading The Amazing Thousand. But I do. Wasn't there one where it was like the ink was changed in the?
Oh yeah, no, that was that was the second story where he was getting ready to kill himself. Then he realized that what was going on because he was talking to Ant-Man on the phone before he was getting ready to kill himself.
Yeah, well, but it was like, oh no, there was the Conspiratron.
Yeah, but remember the first page or two, he was talking to Ant-Man. He was sitting on the stairwell, and he jumped off like, goodbye, cool world. Then she said something about the mayor got hired.
And he stopped himself.
Yeah. So then that was pretty crazy because the Daily Bugle, the ink, made everybody see what they wanted to see in the paperwork, and he seen that it said Spider-Man was the greatest hero ever, and he was like, this can't be right. This is what's going on.
This can't be right.
Yeah, that was a pretty good story. It showed how James still hated Spider-Man. Like, oh man, you messed up everything. And he's like, I was getting ready to get 2 Pulitzer Prizes, and now I'm not. You ruined the worst day. You ruined the best day of my life.
I'm looking over it, and the first story was like, I don't even know what it's drawn like an old Spider-Man comic book. There's a guy breaking into something.
Oh, I remember now. So it was a guy. He does robberies every time.
That guy was great.
Something happens in the.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, because there's Galactus, and then there's the Sentinels.
So like, the best time
to
do a robbery is in New York because it's always something happening. Superheroes are always handle some kind of galactic force or demonic thing, and it shows Thor flying across the thing, and he's gonna break in. Then here comes Spider-Man, he stops him. So they say he went to jail for like 3 to 5 years, and he got out. And he was like, okay, I've been doing it all wrong. I've been doing it while they're fighting these enemies, so I should do it when at nighttime where it's all quiet. So he goes to break in, and Spider-Man comes again and shines the Spider-Man signal or whatever it is. And it's a trap with some villains. I think they're villains from old Spider-Man stories, if I'm not mistaken. They look very familiar. But they jump Spider-Man, but just like the Sinister Six, he beats him up. And then this shows like every time he done caught the guy doing every event. And I just wonder, is that canon? Like, has he really seen the same guy over again in these same events in his stories? Because the villains that jumped him, they look familiar. Like, I've seen them before in like older Spider-Man books, like Jack Kirby.
Yeah, 'cause that's kind of how I'm just like going over it. And they never tell you like who they are, but they always say like, you know, the one guy's, this payback is for a lot of trouble you've caused us over the years.
They look real familiar. Like it was with like
yeah, old school Spider-Man.
Yeah, I want Hammerhead. Is that right? Villain?
Yeah, but it's not Hammerhead.
Yeah, like with part of that era, you know.
Yeah.
What else? Is that anything else?
The Transformer Shattered.
No, I tried to read that for the show. And I tried to read it real fast, but since it's a volume 2 book, I don't know what's going on, so I stopped reading.
That was insanely confusing. The whole Transformers book.
Yeah,
it was confusing.
It was just a lot of just throwing like the names of the different characters out there and trying to like understand like who was the villain and who wasn't the villain was like really bizarre.
Well, you have to understand what Shattered Glass is. First of all, it's an alternate universe where the Autobots are the evil ones and the Decepticons are the good ones.
I figured that part out,
and so it's kind of. But I started reading the first volume of it back at the beginning in the spring, and I got through 2 issues, and I was like, this is stupid, and I quit.
Reminds me of the movies.
Worse, but
so is Starscream Hotshot or
no? He's Starscream.
Like that. So are they got same personalities or?
Yeah, like in the first one, Starscream is looking for Megatron, and Megatron has like lived out in the the wastelands because Optimus beat him and like beat the Decepticons, and Starscream's one of the last Decepticons. But there's Decepticons that are in hiding, so he's trying to get Megatron to come back so they could bring back the Decepticons to fight the Autobots. And
is Romney still around?
Who?
The guy who took the Allspark from Optimus. Is he in this comic series? For Gen 2?
I'm not even sure. I don't even know. As I said, I just read the first 2 issues, and it was just.
Because that would be a great storyline. Because I know the difference between him and Optimus. Because he was really killing Decepticons in his era, versus Optimus trying to stop stuff. He was really like blowing them up and killing them. He's a real villain.
So I think the only other book that we had, if Jonathan actually read it, was the Star Trek book.
Yeah, I did the Stargazer Star Trek book.
Star Trek, Picard, Stargazer.
Yeah,
this is a book that takes place between seasons 1 and 2 or is it 2 and 3?
It's got to be 2 and 3 because that's when he gets back on the Stargazer. Is at the I feel like
that's right. At the end of season 3, that's right. End of season 2.
So
this takes place between 2 and 3.
Yeah. I mean, Star Trek was relative to like the series and stuff and what they did with Picard. He didn't want to do the Stargazer, and like wanting to go back to like make wine and stuff like that. But like it's not in him, you know what I mean? It's not in his nature. He can't stay there. He can't do that forever. He's like it's almost like I feel like how it's got to be for like Jon Stewart not doing the Daily Show. Like after a while, he's like I got to do something, But
really similar to the Daily
Show. How did you like it?
I didn't read it.
Oh. Well, that's good.
Yep. I got 4 books in this week. That was all I got around to. I've been busy with work.
Well, you probably boldly went to other comics.
Yeah. So, Joe, have you read anything this week that you like to talk about?
Well, I've read quite a lot of things. I usually read at least like 6 comics within a week or so.
It's not a contest.
I know, but it's just that I usually I'm not working.
One week I read all the books, and now they're always like,
no,
Well,
Well,
the books I read were equivalent to about 8. So yeah.
I know he read enough books for like the rest of the year.
That's good.
So one of the books I read was the this Moon Knight book. It was about yeah, if I can
What is it? Is it Moon Knight #1?
It's about Dr. Moon. It's like the second fist to Khonshu. And everything, and he's like trying to figure. They're him and like Moon Knight are working together to like find out about like this weird cult group and whatnot. Well, mostly Dr. Moon's doing it because Moon Knight's off fighting like I can't remember what the group is called, but they're like this group that has like Rhino and a few other people in it. Like
Sinister Six.
it's kind of like that, but they have like it's
A different
Rhino,
name?
Scream, Electro, and like a few other people.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like so he's trying to like figure like while Moon Knight's off doing that, Dr. Moon is trying to like discover who this like the cult called Scarlet is. And like they come to find out it's like ran by this weird glass looking god that has like 4 arms and they kind of look like a glass prism.
So
And I
this
don't know,
book,
it's like
is this book a new book or?
yeah, it
the
coincides
run-
with the Devil's region or whatever.
No, I just asked because the Thunderbolts book that we read this week, that's how I knew what characters he was talking about because that's the old team under Kingpin.
Yeah,
But
this
Luke
is
Cage changed it up. Yeah.
yeah, this is the current run of Moon Knight, but this is the first issue, and it was part of that Dark Reign crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Devil's Reign, yeah.
Or whatever, Devil's Reign.
Another one that I read was the redo of Ghost Rider, like the newer story.
Oh, is
like
that the issue 1?
Yes,
Issue
this is
1?
issue 1.
Because we read.
I read all through this. I read it twice because it was pretty interesting, but it's very dark compared to the original Ghost Rider origin story. Like Johnny Blaze, instead of like his dad and him being part of like like a group of like stunt doubles or whatever. He was just a regular motorcyclist and he crashed and he cracked his skull open. So like in the whole comic, he has like a giant stitch mark that goes down his back on his head. But he's living in this like, suburb area, like this stereotypical like American like dream house. Like,
oh, that's right. I did read this.
And everything.
I remember this.
And the whole time though, he's like in therapy because he keeps seeing demons and like these creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And one point, this like angel comes and he shakes Johnny's hand and he sees that everything's fake. Like his family are all demons, and everything like that. Everything he knew was false. His like father-in-law is like a demon and everything. So he cuts off his wife's hand, takes the ring and burns it, and he turns into Ghost Rider and everything. And then I've digitally read volume 2, where he gets like his tattoos of all the Ghost Riders through the history.
Yeah, that's the issue we had talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, where you learn about like the cowboy Ghost Rider. There's like the Ghost Rider who was a bride at her wedding and everything like that. And there's like all these the
bear, the big bear.
Yeah,
Ghost Rider.
It goes like into all these other stories, and I find it really cool, and I can't wait to read more of it. It's like.
So, do you think they're trying to keep up with Spawn by doing all that?
I don't know, because with how Spawn's been going, with they're kind of more leaning into like a more older and Al Simmons, like him, like trying to decide if he wants to be the king of hell or not, and I think he finally does take the mantle of it, and stuff. And I don't know, I've only read volume 1 of King Spawn as of right now. I'm waiting until volume 2 comes out to read more, so I'm not just buying single issues of it. But that was one of the books I have onto the side that I did read was King Spawn.
There you go.
Yeah. I got Wolverine Patch. That's another one I was reading.
How is that?
It's pretty good. It's something me and my dad like to make fun of, is that this is not Wolverine or Logan. It's his own person. he doesn't know
And
who
it
they
literally-
are.
And it
He's
literally
like
has nothing to do with the storyline. Like what's
Yeah.
going on in X-Men. He's like,
Yeah, it's just like, oh,
Just
I
a
think
guy.
we're gonna do a patch story. We just want to write a patch story,
Yeah.
so we're gonna write a patch.
Wow, they really did a
Yeah.
whole story around an eyepiece, around a
Oh,
piece of wardrobe.
it's one of his other personas.
Personalities.
When he
Right,
goes
no,
to,
I get it.
when
it's
he's
funny because in the X-Force book or Wolverine book, I can't remember, he has to get dressed up as Patch to go to Magic Corps, but they
Yeah.
never mentioned like this whole thing and they having this other storyline.
yeah, like it's like he goes to Madripoor, puts a patch on, he wears a suit, and no one knows it's Wolverine.
I
Yeah.
think he has a scar too, like a little fake scar.
Yeah,
That's his Clark Kent.
yeah,
Yeah.
but his face doesn't vibrate really fast, so you can't tell the difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean,
Oh, I remember the other story in the Spider-Man thing. Maybe Jonathan helped me, but it was about this little boy. He's filling out one of them things in the back of the comic book. Like you fill it out, you get a free gun, free T-shirt.
oh, that was Neil Gaiman's story. Gaiman.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
So
Gaiman.
did he draw himself? Did he draw himself?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Now it
him.
makes sense. Also, this whole story was an homage to Steve Ditko when he met.
Yes, I did read that one.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, that was pretty I guess heartfelt because it was a
Yeah.
movie he made. But
It's meta though. It's like I like when they do that. You know, have
It
like the
was
moments
very-
where it's like Spider-Man didn't even give him any attention, and then he drops the gun down.
yeah, so was that what would that be considered the one above all? No.
Yeah, everyone gets one.
No, the one above all. You know, the writer is the one above all, like the
Yeah.
God hierarchy in Marvel.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the one above
like
all and then
Ditko.
the one below all.
Yeah.
Where-
yeah, that makes sense.
Cause all I remember is Deadpool meeting the one above all. I don't remember whoever else did, but
I know
Deadpool
Hulk
like,
met
quote, and,
Hulk
sit
met
beside
the
him
one
and
below
drawing.
all.
You said what?
I know Hulk in the one comic met the one below all because he was trying to get Hulk to join him.
Oh yeah, that's
But then that's
Savage.
also the same comic where you find out that the one above all and them are both the same entity. It's just they're like the two sides of a coin and everything. And
Yeah, that was Savage Hulk. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Also, Edward Norton.
yeah.
Well, I think that's all the books for this week.
Well, the Thunderbolts book, you know.
Oh, the Thunderbolts. That's right. I didn't read it. That was a Phil book. I have everyone's books listed, and since Phil wasn't here, I didn't even look at his list to see if anyone read any of his. So did you?
The Thunderbolts was the one where they fought that other team with Rhino and Scream and all them, right?
Yeah, because he wanted to redeem the name of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it has Clint Barron. Was it Clint Barton?
Yeah,
Okay.
guys, the leader of Thunderbolts.
Okay, so I didn't read West Coast Rangers. I know of them, but I don't know about them. So I heard on a podcast recently that maybe the MCU will make it with Kate Bishop making a reality TV show.
Yeah, they're working on that.
Now, did that happen in the comics?
Kate Bishop was a part of the Young Avengers.
No, but he's asking about the reality show. New Warriors was a reality show, and that's where one of the people got killed, and that led to Civil War.
Okay, so with Clint talking about being West Coast Avengers, and the person on the phone said, "Hey, you talking about the reality show?" And that's why he said that's Kate.
Oh, I think that was that book a few years ago that had Kate was on that team, and Kid Omega was on that team. I'm trying to think of who else.
But there's still like a PR marketing thing about
Yeah.
the Thunderbolts, right? Like the way that they're talking about bringing like the other people in, and he was like, "I need one more," and ends up getting Rambo.
Rambo.
But yeah, I thought that. I thought maybe a Disney was trying to, Marvel was trying to allude to what they might do in the West Coast Avengers, making Kate Bishop make a reality show and make everybody like content creators and like, oh look, we getting ready to go fight, you know, the Mole Men, come watch us, you know. Everybody hit down the chat, you know, F Mole Men or something like that.
That's the next level. That's next level shit right there, Specs.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Marvel basically doing it.
Yep.
Oh, that's all meta. They're doing a lot of that, you know. But it's good for the younger audience. I feel like they're showing like the because then you could do TikTok with this and hashtag that.
Well, I think they came from the Spider-Man thing, how they couldn't tell Tom Holland about what's going on because he might blur it out.
Right.
They'll feed him false information. Like, I don't know if that was scripted or really like they really giving him bad information because.
Well, Marvel had to pay a writer to write a false script. I mean, that's amazing. Just because they're afraid of the one guy, you know, the Spider-Man, Tom Holland, like talking about.
Yeah, Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo, they're the best for spoilers.
Yeah.
But they never talk about. I can't think of the girl name right now, Zendaya, because she always wears the outfits, giving the things away all the time. So they never talk about that.
Yeah, that's true.
No, she's too pretty. Yeah, you just see Tom Holland going gaga over her. You know.
Oh, you know, the director told them they couldn't have a relationship.
Yeah.
No.
They shouldn't. Yeah, because you know, they're actors.
Oh, that'd be good for the press for the film.
Yeah, but if something would happen in the middle of them like filming the movie.
Well, Angelina Jolie did it, no problem.
I know.
Yeah, no problem. Except for now she's suing her husband. What's his name? Brad Pitt for like $200 million. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Smith was a good movie, you know.
Yeah, because they weren't together yet. It was after that movie that they got together.
Well, they were getting together during that movie.
Yeah, they were getting together during that movie. Yes.
Oh, just like Will Smith and that Harley Quinn chick.
Yeah.
But it's like in Amazing Spider-Man, how eventually Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield ended up getting together, and then they eventually broke up after like a certain amount of years, I think it was.
Speaking of that whole Spider-Man relationship thing, if you remember when Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, when they were getting ready to film Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 2, he had just made the horse racing movie. Seabiscuit. And he had lost so much weight for that role that they were worried that he wouldn't be able to get built back up for Spider-Man. So they were actually looking to recast Spider-Man, and the person who was going to be that role was Jake Gyllenhaal. And at that time, he was dating what's her name? That was
Kirsten Dunst.
He was dating Kristen Dunst, and that's how he like got into that movie. So when they brought him back as Mysterio, it's kind of like finally getting into the Spider-Man movie. Because they looked enough alike where it wouldn't have been totally jarring to have something else.
I mean, this always just cast on having the same facial structure and never change. That never is a problem.
Yeah, look at Mark Ruffalo and
Mark Ruffalo. I like that.
Mark Ruffalo. Yeah.
Ruffalo.
Man, did you ever get Mark Ruffalo'd?
Oh my God, there's a Bill Cosby joke somewhere in there. He wakes up and you're like,
we'll see it on
Cosby.
Facebook tomorrow. Jonathan will steal my joke. He'll have something written on Facebook about being Mark Ruffalo'd.
Gamma irradiated pudding.
AJW. You was part of Neverland of Cthulhu, right?
Yeah.
It came out already?
It got shipped, yeah. The Kickstarter books.
I'm so mad y'all couldn't use Rufio.
Yeah. There's no Rufio in the Cthulhu Neverland book?
No.
Yeah. Best character ever.
But since we are going into the spooky season, Jonathan missed our category last week, which was our personal most scariest moments in horror. But this week we have a new discussion, and I want to know what everyone's most disappointing horror film, book, TV show, video game, whatever. What was your most disappointing? And we'll start with the youngest one first. How about that, Joe?
I'll have to say the Leatherface reboot that they did like not so long ago, where they built up the whole movie that chubby dude, like Bubba or whatever it was going to be Leatherface. but they end up killing him off, and it's like that scrawny kid that you barely see that's ended up being Leatherface, and it was like made no sense on why, and like it was just not even about Leatherface at all.
But it was a good twist. You gotta have a twist in a movie, right, Jonathan?
Thanks, Shyamalan.
But yeah, that was like really disappointing. And me and Zach were sitting there watching that. We're like, oh, it's gonna be the fat guy, like Bubba or whatever.
Why is it always gotta be the fat guy?
Because that's what Leatherface is. He's a fat dude. But like they build up that it's gonna be him, and then they killed him off, and then it's like the scrawny kid wearing like this, not even like a mask made of human faces. It's like you know what Kane's mask looked like in
that
in
leather.
Like that?
Oh yeah,
yeah, like that leathery mask. He wears that. That's his mask.
Oh, I thought you were gonna tell me he wore like a Captain Kirk mask that's just painted.
No, it's just like a leather belt looking mask that he wears, and it's like it's awful. And the movie's not even that good. Like it just has so many like stuff that doesn't even make sense a lot, and it's like they just ruined it. That was my most disappointing.
All right, Specs. How about you? What was your most disappointing horror film or other media?
I mean, I
or
can't.
Several.
My fiance, she likes horror movies and all that stuff, and watched a whole bunch of bad ones, and the ones that come across as repressed memories, I just put it.
It's true. It's true. I try to forget about it.
I can't think. I want to say, the cute movies. You know, I didn't like them.
Any of
y'all
them?
Seen those? Cube.
Yeah, I've seen all three of them.
Yeah, Cube Squared.
Like some of the easiest movies to make, I feel like they just keep going from the same room to the next room.
The same room.
Yeah,
like, go through this door, cut, and okay, now you come through this door.
But the hypercube was the worst one though, because it changed.
It saw circle, in one room.
The Circle. You seen that?
Okay, The Circle. Yeah.
Is that a horror film?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh
of.
Yeah, it's horror because it might vote you to die.
Yeah.
I guess.
What's a good one, but I ain't like the ending was Would You Rather? Was that the name of the movie?
Would You Rather? Yeah.
Is that when he invites them to dinner and they gotta do all that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, like she did all that and at the end happened. I was like, dang. I can't think of another one. I want to say this movie I'm thinking of is bad but it was a movie. It's it might have been a good movie, but I think it's bad because they trying to remake another movie. So it's basically some black kids from Compton. It's take place with them, and it's basically Carrie, but with a guy, and he doesn't talk or whatever because something happened, and I guess they're getting killed or whatever. And they think that he's the one that's doing it, but somebody else doing it, and he eventually, comes, save them. It was basically Carrie with black kids in Compton, and they just switched it up for you. You don't think the Jason type killer is the killer, it's somebody else. It's pretty I don't know, just like this is Carrie. It was Carrie to the T. Except the girl, it wasn't being like abused, but the guy wasn't getting abused by his mom, whatever. Something else going on. But video game wise, I know that was one of the options. Definitely was I think Resident Evil 5. I think that's when they brought back Chris Redfield. Oh man, the ending for that was let down.
Oh yeah, that was kind of a letdown.
Yeah, it was 5. Yeah, I was like, oh.
Yeah, Resident Evil Village.
No, 5.
The one co-op when you had to fight Wesker, and he had to throw the missiles at you, and you had to dodge. What is that?
What? Please don't
they
go
basically
him. I don't want them seeing you.
Who is it?
It's Josh, but he's not wearing a shirt, and so his gut hanging out.
Yeah,
it's something OnlyFans podcast.
What were you saying?
The Only Sons podcast. All right. So, how about you, Jonathan?
That was really funny. I mean, those examples remind me of other like terrible examples. I mean, what was it like any M. Night Shyamalan film? You know, you could easily just like look at it and be like, dude, that movie, The Happening, was terrible. Like, and the twist was just.
So what do you like better, The Happening or The Fall?
Well, the Village and The Happening were both.
The Village, you cannot tell me. His first couple were good.
Yeah,
And then-
Signs was good. Sixth Sense was good.
And The Village. After The Village, they became crap.
When they walked outside into the modern life, I was just like, all right, I'm over it. You know.
So The Happening one, the one with the plants are killing them, right?
Yeah, the plants are making them suicidal.
Yeah.
It was like I was like, all right, I'm bored with this twist. You know.
But if when he makes like other movies, not
Oh, Last Airbender?
no, you didn't let me finish my thing. M. Night Shyamalan movies are good if he doesn't direct them.
Well, I mean, I liked Unbreakable, and I liked
Split was good.
And he didn't direct those.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't direct the one where the changing personalities that McAvoy had.
Yeah.
Glass?
Split. Yeah.
Split.
Because me and Zach been watching those.
Oh,
and
okay.
And have you ever seen Elevator?
Oh,
Yeah, I saw Elevator.
What the
That
hell?
was what?
The one that the elevator is killing them, right? They stuck in.
Well,
there,
yeah.
right?
There's 4 people in the elevators, an old
Yeah.
woman, and one of them's like Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody keeps dying.
Yeah.
Well, that and then the
Satan's
other
the old
things I was
woman.
going to say that are disappointing are when you get to like the long, like, you know, Tremors 4, 5, 6, 7. Like these films are meant to be so bad. I feel like, you know what I mean? Let's not even get started with like, you know, the Sharknadoes and like, but in like, I realize Asylum makes intentionally terrible things. Like Z Nation is intentionally bad. I don't find it scary, right? You know?
Well, yeah,
But-
it's hilarious, is what.
Yeah.
Nation. Yeah.
But it's so bad.
The stuff on used to be Sci-Fi. Whenever they make like those movies were intended to be bad. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it got to the point where celebrities wanted to be in those movies. Like
It's true.
Hey, have y'all seen Rubber?
the tire?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Did you ever see Rubber, John?
No, it definitely sounds like a porn.
It's about a killer tire.
Oh my
Literally,
God.
a killer tire.
That
I read
reminds
lot
me of a movie.
scripts. That reminds me of I got a script called Log once about a killer log in a campsite. It is literally what you think it was. It's just just a piece of wood and starts attacking people. You know, even rapes one of the campers. She gives birth to like a wood baby. It's like ridiculous. I'm sorry. I know there's young years on the show, but
I
He's
love
an
my
adult.
thing.
the other two things.
Yeah.
He's an
Did
adult.
you guys see
It's all right.
True Detective?
Yes, I love True Detective.
No, I have not seen it.
Yeah, well, the very last episode just seemed like too easy of an ending. That was the one thing. It was like they built it up, and that was like a disappointment. And then finally, the same thing with Twilight. Again, I know there's young years on here, but
He's not young.
oh,
He's in his
how old are you?
20s.
I'm like 20.
Oh,
Yeah,
never mind.
must
You
be
can see an
27.
NC-17 movie. So I remember in college, this girl, she was like, "If you read these books, I'll give you a blowjob when we get back from break." And so I read all the fucking Twilight books, excuse my language. And she came back and she was engaged.
That was your blowjob right there.
Yeah.
She did better. She screwed you.
Yeah, not only that, the book sucked. It was this huge build-up just for nothing. For like the writer to be like, "No, I liked all the characters, so I decided they're not going to die." You're like, "This is terrible, lady." Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, Twilight, if it was intended to be scary, it was only in the idea that you could be bored to death.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the examples that are just awful. And my experiences with that one specifically was horrific. So thank you.
You're welcome. I have a few.
Can I say something real quick?
Yep.
Him talking about you talking about Rubber, the tire movie, reminded me of another like really bad horror movie, like old one. Killer Tomatoes from
That
Outer
is
Space.
not bad. That is not bad. That is a cult classic. You can't.
But it's
can't
one of
say-
those old like funny horror movies. Like
They made
that
they made a Saturday morning cartoon out of that, and it launched a career of George Clooney. So there.
Well, he's like talking about the Garbage Pail Kids. Remember that movie?
Yeah. Well, that was
Uh-huh.
terrible.
terrible, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, it intended to like scare somebody.
Chud, right?
Also, speaking of old horror movies, I don't know if anyone else seen it, but they're making a Killer Clowns from Outer Space game.
Yeah, we talked about it last week, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Josh probably mentioned it. Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
yeah. 'Cause
But for me, some of the most disappointing horror genre things, um, there's just been so many of them. I don't know if this is really horror or not, but Aliens versus Predator, because
Yeah.
Thriller. I don't know.
I was a big fan of the novels. The novels came years before, like the comic books or anything. And so when I've heard they're finally making an Aliens versus Predator movie, I got all excited, and it was
severely
very
let down.
very disappointing because
Why are you disappointed?
in the books, there's a human girl who gets taken in by this predator and kind of like raised with them.
Yeah, that's not Prey.
No, if anything, it's more like that the Predator comic book now, that one that we just reviewed a couple weeks ago.
Right.
So she becomes like a human predator, and she becomes like his hunting partner and all this. And the predators are actually the people in control of the aliens. Those are like, you know how like we stalk fish, they stalk planets with the xenomorphs. That's the whole thing. And predators let them take over, and then they go hunt them.
Yeah, that's not scary at all.
Exactly. So the movies weren't really like that, because the girl was just amazing. It's this human girl. For one thing, it's a girl. It's a human, and she's just as badass as the predators are. So, so that kind of disappointed me. Specs had mentioned Resident Evil. For me, Resident Evil 6 was the one, because that one had so much potential, but it's like they tried to take 5 different genres of game and shove it all into one.
They just made it like a cover shooter. Like you just ran around shooting everything instead of like.
There was so much up. There's parts where you had to button mash, and it was. I mean, it was just they took too many things and tried to make it into one cohesive game, and it instead of being good at one thing, it was horrible at everything.
So, well, that was my problem with the Max Payne, the games. The Max Payne games had so many different genres and ideas going on simultaneously.
Cool, and they
made bullet time effect.
Yeah, they invented the bullet time.
Yeah, the bullet time was like the only good part
Matrix
about it.
ended up stealing.
Yeah.
Now, if you would have said the movie, with, what's his name?
With Mark Wahlberg.
Marky Mark in it.
Yeah, that wasn't a great film either. I mean, no. I mean, just it got to a point where the games were. I loved them. They're still good, the bullet time and all that, but it got really cerebral, and you had to like.
Oh yeah, you had to take the drugs. And stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then another movie that I think was a big letdown was Freddy versus Jason.
I mean,
I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
It was just a letdown.
It was just a letdown because when you grow up with them two, like we talked last week, how Freddy Krueger is like my nightmare. It would be like awesome just to see them fight like of this, but when you actually start thinking about it, there's no way to really do that because, I mean, what is Freddy would have to fight Jason in his dreams? But does he dream? In that movie, obviously he does, but and Freddy, when you bring him into the real world, he loses all his power. So,
Well, I did a test screening of that movie actually, Freddy vs. Jason, before it got released in theaters, and in the test screening they had Jason win. And that was the end of it. He cut off his head, and that was it. There was no more, and like the audience hated it so much that they redid the movie, and the ending had Freddy kind of winning. Like you see him wink, or at least it seems more neutral, if anything.
Yeah, that was the director's cut.
What?
That was the director's cut.
Oh, right, exactly. Sure.
Yeah, I remember seeing that like after like it came out on like Blu-ray or DVD or whatever.
Well, yeah, but that was the thing. It was like the fighting was so I don't know, that particular movie. You're right. Freddy versus Jason ended up being too. I don't know. It was it. I don't think they did the whole thing with like the stoner, who was basically Jason Mewes
Yeah.
in that movie, and it was like almost a carbon copy. And he gets high, and suddenly Freddy's like the caterpillar from Wonderland. And so it plays with some ideas that they hadn't done too much before. I feel like, but I feel like they could have done it better. You know.
I mean, there's parts of that movie that I would, it's one of those movies that had a very good concept, but bad, inception because
Execution, yeah.
yeah, the whole idea of Freddy going into Jason's dreams to make him kill, it is like a little bit different than killing because my mom told me to. But in there, you have him pretending to be Jason's mom, telling him to kill. So it's like,
I mean, it just makes Jason schizophrenic, you know.
Yeah. Has it been Freddy the whole time telling him to kill people?
Right. It's suddenly Fight Club.
Yeah. And then another one I will say is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Oh,
The first one, like, if you know the whole like spiel with these movies, is he wanted to do Halloween. So the studio says, "All right, we'll give you Halloween, but you have to do the first one the way we want it, and then you can do whatever you want with the second one." And the second one is just so bizarre. Like, it's totally like not Halloween. Like, where his mother's a stripper and she does the whole Jason thing where he sees her and she's like a ghost and she's the one telling him to kill people, and it's like what. But the first one was good because we see more of Michael when he's a kid, and and the whole like understanding of why he would kill his family, that whole thing. But I can't think. I'm sure there's a lot more.
There's
So
there's plenty.
So I want to go back. Going back to like the disappointing, like something game related that was disappointing. I have two copies of it. One I can't play because it's in French, but this was a very disappointing game.
What is it?
Oh, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah, but that's not a horror movie. But that's all right.
Yeah, well, they tried. So okay, it's strained way different from the original Fallout game. So they did do some weird horror elements with it, but they also tried making it heavy metal instead of like the more retro, like what people at the time would have thought the future looked like. But they went really into like early 2000 like heavy metal and everything, and it was very much a letdown and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know. When you guys were talking about how Resident Evil 6 was kind of like a major letdown, it reminded me of that game. How they could have been so good, but they ended up ruining it.
Yeah. Paranormal Activity 3 was a letdown.
Now, last week I forgot to tell you, like, when we were talking about the scariest, it just made me think of something. The Ring, if you remember that movie.
Yeah.
I went and seen it in the theaters. I might have mentioned this, I don't know. But at the end of the movie, did I mention last week how they show the video?
At the end, they show the actual your phone.
And then my phone rang when I was going out of right in the theater. I was like, "Nope, I'm done.
Great.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm not answering this call." So next week I was thinking we're going to discuss who we think are the best characters in horror that aren't the killers.
Like Tommy?
Like Tommy, yeah. Like characters like that. Like maybe people who survive. Could even be people who get killed, but we think are the best characters in horror that aren't the killers. Because most of the horror movies surround, like, who the killer is, but the other characters kind of get, you can only name probably a handful of the famous
side characters.
Yeah, like Nancy or Sydney or anybody from Scream, because the only people that die in there are the girls at the beginning.
Jamie Kennedy.
He gave us the rules. Right?
Yeah. I mean, Jamie Kennedy and Liev Schreiber are the only ones I like from Scream.
All right. Well, we'll discuss next week. We'll give us time to think about all that.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully Phil will be back with us next week. be sure to check him out. He has a bunch of shows going on right now. I know 5 days a week he's got shows. So
Busy man.
he's busy. I know he let me in some backstage news of a show he's going to be announcing soon. So be watching out for that, which I'm still begging him to be a part of. So if anything, I'll be in the audience every week for that show. But that's all we have for this week. Joey, thank you for sitting in and filling in for Phil, being the fill-in.
Thank you.
Good job, buddy. You were very funny, very insightful.
You didn't change your hat a lot of times, so that was my only complaint. Because
I don't have any hats.
Yeah, Phil likes to change his hat every so often, and you didn't have a cool background going on behind you.
Well, all my cool stuff is right where my computer is. So.
Well, no, but Phil will have like green screen crap.
But I was gonna do that, but I don't have like a green
screen. I don't have a green sheet. Yeah,
like this is all like stuff like this is all I have right now. Is like desk stuff.
That's fine. So, anybody have anything coming up in the next week you would like to share or promote or anything like that? Specs, we'll just go around the room.
No, I don't. But I was looking up a scary movie at Disney. I can't think what it was. It was a Disney scary movie with a black guy. He like turns evil. That was a movie back in the day that messed me up. I try to pull up real quick, but I don't know what it is. Maybe come back around, I can find it real quick.
I'll tell you, one movie messed me up was Dr. Chuckles. Remember that movie?
No.
I had to see the dentist right after. Dr. Giggles. Dr. Giggles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw the dentist right afterwards, right? But in the movie, there's a part where he comes in and sees a kid playing video games, and Dr. Giggles is like, no, he's already fried. I don't need to kill him. And so in my mind, I'm like, dude, I'm better off. I'm fine. I'm already playing video games. Dr. Giggles is going to leave me alone. Everybody else with, poor teeth is dead. And, but yeah, terrible movie.
And then you go see your dentist named Dr. J. Eagles.
Exactly. J. Eagles.
Yeah.
He's Italian.
The movie was called Don't Look Under the Bed.
Oh, Don't Look Under the Bed. Yes. Because that's where I keep my stack of porno mags. Oh.
That's a lot of information.
That's how like they like to do this,
It's so you
don't be a menace in South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. Yeah.
Or you might find your porn under the bed.
Yeah, exactly.
That was an anime title.
Yeah, the anime title. I like that.
All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by to the Comic Book Geeks podcast. Make sure you check us out here on Facebook and YouTube live Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Or you can listen to us anytime on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And next week, like I said, we will talk about our favorite non-killer characters in horror.
I'm so excited.
Have a good week, guys. Good night.
Good night.